Welcome back to Smosh Reddit Reactions. If you're unfamiliar with the series, I react to a Smosh Reddit video and, well, it speaks for itself. Let me just lower this here. Anyway,
$50,000
let's get to it.
guitar for $4,000 and refusing to sell it back when the buyer found out the real value.
Whoa.
As a standard just blanket thing, I'm like, no, you're not. Like that's how things happen when someone's like, oh, I bought this, like, for instance, like I've heard that story of like someone's like, oh, I bought this Superman comic for like $10 at this garage sale, and it turns out it was worth $1 million. Like that's kind of the nature of like things.
Yeah, or like I found this vintage jacket that's worth thousands of dollars that was being sold for 25. Like totally.
Did that happen?
That happens all the time.
Oh, I thought it happened
Not
to
to
you.
me. Oh my god, I wish.
I would say if you're selling something, it's on you to know the value. Clear here, she did all of this based entirely on some random bullshit her friend just made up. Refusing to consider stopping our divorce after the asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to consider stopping our divorce after my ex admitted her psychic friend lied about me having an affair?
Okay, first, I just want to say, what the heck is this? Not like, what is this, like, story here? I'm like, what is going on in the deep realms of Reddit? I just want to say that. I just want to put that out there and say, what is going on in the weird realms of Reddit?
Whoa.
So I've read this story. This story is nuts.
Oh god.
This is insane. I met my wife Rona when we were in college together. I made the obviously terrible assumption that the fact she was in post-secondary education meant she had a modicum of common sense.
Jesus Christ.
God damn, a hater off the bat. We started dating our senior year and after job hunting settled on moving back to her hometown after graduating. We found an apartment and lived together for 2 years before getting married. All good so far. At our wedding, I met an old friend of hers, Anna. She offered to read my palm. Weird. I am in construction and I know a few people from that group and they call themselves Roma. Whatever. Anna only comes to town every once in a while. She lives in New York City, so she doesn't have time to visit since she has an exciting life there. She makes costumes for plays and cosplayers, so we see her maybe 4 times over the next 2 years. Last time she came was Labor Day last year, and that's when it got weird. All of a sudden, Rona starts acting oddly. She starts checking in on me at work, coming by when I'm working late, asking to use my phone because hers is almost out of power, that sort of thing. She finally comes out and accuses me of having an affair. I thought she was joking, so I laugh and say that I am not. This sets her off like a Roman candle, because Anna told her I would laugh it off when Rona came for the truth. I laughed because it was ridiculous. I barely had time for a relationship with my wife and my job. I am home all weekend long. When I go golfing, her brother is almost always either in my
What? What? I'm just looking at something. I'm just looking at something. Just don't mind this, bro. A bunch of people love when I react to Smosh Reddits. I get over 100 views on each video, so thank you for that. Also, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. This video is it's gonna contain a little bit of bad words that might not be appropriate for little children. So, please cover your ears, children.
foursome or at the club.
Foursome?
Yeah. And most important of all, I love my wife. I wouldn't do anything to harm her, and yet she takes the word of Anna, the psychic seamstress, over mine. She asked me to leave our apartment. I say no because I have nowhere else to go. So she leaves and moves back in with her parents. They think she is nuts too.
Oh.
I spent the next few months working and trying to convince her that I'm not cheating and that I want her to come home. I don't get invited to Thanksgiving because it would be awkward. I didn't even stick around for Christmas. I went home to see my family. They have been following all this stupidity without commenting until then. At Christmas, they had an intervention. They said my wife was having a break from reality and that she wasn't coming out of it. My dad told me to give my head a shake, which he only does when I am being monumentally stupid. When I got back, I went to a lawyer and started my divorce. That was in January. Finally, at the beginning of April, Rona calls me to talk. I say that we should talk through lawyers. She starts to cry, and I agree to meet her in public if she will allow me to record our conversation so I can give a copy to my lawyer. She eventually agreed. Turns out, her and her parents hired a private detective to find my affair. 6 months and a huge bill later, zero evidence of an affair. She finally believes me and wants to come home. I told her that our lease is up in July and I already found a job in Denver near my family. She said she would come with me. I respectfully declined. I told her we just weren't right for each other. The truth is I do not want to have my offspring share DNA with this dingbat. Damn.
Using the D word.
Anyway, I am moving ahead with my divorce. I am gutted that she took her friend's psychic vibrator over mine. Jesus. I think he meant to say
I just want to say this. What is up with Shane's hair? Did my guy have a bad hair day or something? Because what is up with his hair?
psychic vibrations.
Well, he didn't.
He didn't type that.
Psychic vibrations.
Her family has approached me several times. The last time, her dad offered to front us a 25% down payment on a house if I agreed to go to marriage counseling instead of just leaving.
Should be taken.
I politely declined. I cannot be bought. Rona is now depressed, but I see no way of ever trusting her again. She is young enough that she can marry again and wreck some other guy's life.
Oof.
Am I the asshole?
Says
Bro.
the meanest sentence in the
Yeah.
planet. Am
I will-
the asshole?
I hate my dumbass.
You are the jerk. I'm just saying. I think, yes, you're the one who. Didn't they say that they got divorced or something? I mean, if I was the wife, I would straight up believe him from the beginning. Like, oh, I'm not having an affair. Okay, honey. And then just leave. But if I was this guy, I would not divorce my wife. I don't even have a wife yet. I'm
His
whatever.
wife. Am I the asshole?
Look,
I would be mad.
he's using some harsh language, but she did have a friend tell her, like, oh, I'm getting psychic readings that your husband's having an affair, and that's all it took for her to leave him.
No, that's
I'm just like, yeah, I
low-key
whatever you're
dingbat
feeling, like
behavior.
that is 100% grounds for being like, all right, yeah, I can't get back with you. Like, if
Yeah.
that's all it took, then that's gonna happen again. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's talking like an asshole, but like, no, you're allowed to hold your boundary, and clearly you guys aren't compatible. It doesn't sound like this relationship was worth fighting for to him from the beginning, or to her, if she was willing to believe. I'm so curious what she said and what this friend, what they claimed to feel, and like, that's just really wild, and it really is for the best that they didn't stay together. And you know, he might have some anger issues that he should talk out in therapy.
We gotta track down the psychic.
Yeah, I'd love to meet that person. And I want to know, like, I wish there was an update of like, why did this friend do that?
they're just
That's such a crazy bag.
that is what's really crazy. I mean,
Also, so he was working construction. Maybe when she was reading his hand, she was reading the calluses.
And she's like, this is from jerking off another person's penis.
yeah.
It's like, no, it's from my backhoe.
My backhoe.
It's a real
side
it's
hoe.
my sis-
Okay, let's move on to a different video. I just don't think I can handle this. YouTube might take this video down. What do I watch? Let's look through my my stuff.
So after all this time, that's your problem with engineering?
Welcome to MsMojo.
Oh, that was Howard.
And today,
Let's watch this.
Wait, so after all this time,
Yeah, this is 24 minutes long. This will exceed my expectations on like timing.
that's your problem with engineering?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the times young Sheldon expanded on details or backstories that were not covered in The Big Bang Theory.
It's also why I never open a door without knocking 3 times.
Before we dive in, this is your spoiler
He does the thing where he does the wait 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 a minute wait Penny. That's why he does that. That's what he was talking about. That's what he was talking about.
warning. Number 20. When and why did Sheldon start wearing graphic t-shirts? For much of the series, our young genius was typically partial to checkered or striped shirts.
How about we lose the bow tie?
Why?
Look around, honey. None of the other kids are wearing one.
Well, perhaps I'll start a fad.
No, you won't. Please trust Mommy.
This fashion choice follows him through childhood and into his teen years. But in The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon is known for his love of graphic tees. So when did his taste change? In the season 5 finale of Young Sheldon, Sheldon faces an adolescent existential crisis. Missy comforts him, saying that all parts of growing up are worth embracing.
What if I grow up and none of those things ever happen?
All you can do is try it and find out.
Those are the fundamentals of the scientific method.
No, Doy.
This reassurance helps him face the changes he's experiencing and start finding his identity. We can only imagine that after meeting like-minded
It's the flash tee that he wears in The Big Bang Theory.
people over at Caltech, he decided to fully adopt this new style.
Wow, I might look too cool.
Number 19. How did Sheldon end up at Caltech?
So I can explain this one for all of you who haven't seen Young Sheldon. So in Young Sheldon, Sheldon decides he's going to go to MIT, but once Sheldon and his father George Cooper make it to Boston, they decide, hey, there's too much snow. Let's go to Caltech. So yeah, that's how Sheldon ended up in Caltech. If he still went, if he but bit the bullet and went to MIT, then I bet the part of him never making fun of Howard would have totally changed the Big Bang Theory timeline.
As any fan knows, Sheldon enrolled at Caltech for grad school when he was just 14.
And he's only 15 years old.
Not bad. I myself started graduate school at 14.
He sticks around, gets a job, and meets the friends who would become his close-knit group. However, his history with the university goes way back. Sure, it seemed like
That was the lunchroom that they eat at in Big Bang Theory.
love at first sight when Sheldon first visited in season 3.
Imagine all the stimulating conversations that must go on at these tables.
I bet.
That's his father,
I can
George
see
Cooper.
myself going here one day.
I think you'd fit right in.
Later that season, he'd find out that Caltech was pretty keen to have him too.
How could you not tell me that Caltech wants me to go to school there?
Because you're not going, so it doesn't matter.
So I don't get a say in this?
Actually, no. Which is why that letter is addressed to the parents of Sheldon Cooper.
However, when it comes to choosing grad schools, it's not like it was a no-brainer for the young prodigy. Heck, he even considers MIT. However, Boston's frostier climate sends him straight to Pasadena.
Exactly.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Caltech?
Caltech.
Number 18. Why does Sheldon say coitus? In The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon often refers to physical intimacy as coitus.
So it went beyond the mere fact of coitus to a blow-by-blow, as it were.
Pun intended?
No.
I'm sorry, what pun?
Most of us might think it's just his matter-of-fact way of talking. However, there's a story behind his choice of language. In season 5 of Young Sheldon, Missy's natural curiosity.
So I never watched season 5. I skipped over season 5 because I thought it was gonna get too confusing. I mean, I watched the first episode and it was pretty weird. I liked it, but it was pretty weird. So I skipped over season 5. I watched part of season 6, but then I stopped until the episode where I forgot what episode.
Curiosity about the birds and the bees causes quite a stir.
That's silly. All you did was ask questions. And it's ruining my life. I'm never talking about sex again.
Well, all right.
Sheldon and Dr. Sturgis try to get to the bottom of what it is about the subject that makes people so squirmish. Unfortunately, their experiment costs Dr. Sturgis his job.
And now we know conversations like that can cost you your job.
You learn something new every day.
So Sheldon decides the best solution is to find a word so mechanical and devoid of emotion that practically no one will get flustered at the sound of it.
Then I found the perfect word. A word so bland and clinical that it would be impossible to take offense to it.
Coitus. That'll work.
Number 17. Where did Sheldon's strong dislike of hospitals begin? Few people like hospitals. However, Sheldon
Oh my
seems
god,
to
I remember.
really hate
I remember this clip. I watched a short of this on YouTube Shorts. I'm actually watching it right now. This is Sitcom Hub. That's where I got the clip. Sheldon walks into there and then then he gets infected and the rest of his friends have to wear hazmat suits.
them to the point where you might even call it a phobia.
Sheldon, let's go! To a hospital?
No.
Full of sick people? Oh, I don't think so.
So where did that all begin?
Keep it
well,
classic,
if you cast
everyone.
your mind all the way back to season 1, episode
Keep it classic, everyone. Keep it classic.
3, you may recall that George Sr. suffers a minor heart attack. Anxious about their father, the Cooper kids sneak out to the hospital.
I'm going to see Dad. You guys want to come?
How? Mima said we have to stay here.
You want to go or not?
While looking for a place to wash his hands, Sheldon happens to catch sight of the doctors treating his father. Poor kid, no one wants to think of their parent in such a vulnerable position, let alone have to see it. No wonder he becomes so averse to hospitals.
My thinking was, if he was right about the existence of God, then he could pass along my request for my dad to get better. If he was wrong, well, in this moment, I needed him to be right.
Number 16. Why was Sheldon so reluctant to learn how to drive? While we're on that episode, let's talk about how the Cooper kids got to the hospital. Georgie, a freshman in high school at the time,
I think my dad just slammed the bathroom door.
swipes their Mima's keys and gets behind the wheel.
Why don't we ask somebody for directions?
Because we're children in a car, genius. Dang it.
That reminds me of this one episode where Missy and her friend Paige, who's just as smart as Sheldon, they snuck with George. Somehow Missy learned how to drive, and they snuck out.
Aiming for them?
Everybody just shut up. I got this.
Their journey hits plenty of bumps, or should we say trash cans along
Trash
the way.
cans.
Narrator Sheldon chimes in, citing this very event as the reason he was never keen on learning to drive.
I've often been asked why I never learned to drive a car. This night is your answer.
Luckily, they
How
make it to the
old was
hospital
Georgie
one
in that
piece.
episode?
Still, we imagine Connie's accident a few seasons later didn't help either. Sheldon eventually learns to drive, but keeps it on the down low because, well, it's more fun to be chauffeured around, right?
So when I got up at 4 a.m. to drive you across the desert to an antique train museum, I didn't have to?
No, you didn't. Keep in mind, I felt extremely important.
Number 15. What happened to Sheldon's childhood home? The Big
Moved
Bang
out.
Theory fans may have noticed that the home Sheldon visits in East Texas isn't the same one we see in young Sheldon.
If you recall, when you were little, we sat right here at this very spot, and we talked about some of the problems you had getting along with the neighbor kids.
In the prequel series finale, it's revealed that, as many of us suspected, adult Sheldon had been writing his memoir, and we've been watching the chapters.
The series finale was a 2-part finale. One experiencing the spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, the death of George Cooper, George Sr. I should say, because I mean, I don't know what to say. And then the second part experience tells us what happened after the funeral. The first part of it was called Funeral, and the second part of it was called Memoir, where we actually got to see the best faces of the show, Maya Bialik and Jim Parsons. And also, there's a very small statement of how they had another kid. Their first kid was Leonard Cooper, although Sheldon wanted to be Leonard Nimoy Cooper, but Amy wouldn't let him. And they also had a daughter, I think they said in that episode, who wanted acting classes because, get this, they let Penny babysit her.
about his childhood. In a touching transition, adult Sheldon walks through the Coopers' home, reflecting on everything that he now holds close to his heart. He explains that his mom moved out sometime after his father passed away, and he'd moved to Pasadena.
Eventually, my mom sold the house. My dad's chair was gone.
Oh my
spot
god,
was
it's
gone.
the spot.
Luckily, before
It's the spot that he sits in the couch on in Big Bang.
he left, he captured every part of the home to safely store away in his eidetic memory.
But I can still remember it exactly the way it was the day I left for Caltech.
Hey,
Oh my god.
what are you doing?
Taking it all in one last time, so I remember it when I'm older.
Number
my God.
14. What about Sheldon's idol, Professor Proton?
I power a clock with a potato.
Shut up! You can do that?
So in Young Sheldon, Sheldon watched the show, which, get this, is named Professor Proton.
Who could possibly forget
Proton?
Bob Newhart's
Proton.
multiple appearances as Professor Proton on The Big Bang Theory? When the guys hire him to come to the apartment, we're given a glimpse at Sheldon's childhood hero.
What do you think will happen?
I think I know.
It's gonna get sucked in.
He digs out an old autographed photo of the professor and tells the story of how he watched Proton every day after school. Sure enough, during the pilot episode of Young Sheldon, we find multiple references to Sheldon's adoration for Newhart's character. We see Sheldon panic when he can't find his bow tie to wear to school, citing Professor Proton always wearing one.
My tie is gone! My tie is gone!
Kelly, you don't really need a tie.
I have to find my tie! I have to find my tie!
Be right back.
Professor Proton wears a bow tie!
And finally, we see Sheldon watching him on TV every day when he gets
Exactly.
home, just as he had described to him as an adult.
Can a clock be powered by an ordinary potato?
Yes.
I hope so, boys and girls, but this is going to be a really boring episode.
Number 13. What are the origins of the agreement?
According to the roommate agreement, paragraph 9, subsection B, the right to bathroom privacy is suspended in the event of force majeure.
Leonard and Sheldon had their share of fights over the roommate agreement, a contract signed by both of them dictating the terms of their living arrangement.
Dr. Leonard Hofstadter, you are officially charged with 2 violations of the roommate agreement.
From what they watched to the thermostat.
Oh my god, this part of the agreement, the roommate agreement, always came up in the Big Bang There's this one episode where Leonard broke a clause of the contract, and Sheldon read it over, and whatever.
Stat settings, the two consistently found themselves at odds. For Sheldon, however, the structure of these agreements somehow seemed to help him structure his world. He even drafted one for him and Amy. We would come to learn in Young Sheldon that his obsession with contracts originated with his Meemaw. He helped her and Dr. Sturgis work out the ground rules of their courtship by providing a list of rules formulated as a contract.
Please sign and date.
You know, Sheldon, I'm a notary, if that helps.
Just when I thought you couldn't get cooler.
Narrator Sheldon tells us how it helped him remove confusion around social relationships. Number 12. Where did Sheldon's fascination with comic books come from? Comic book references were a staple in The Big Bang Theory, reflecting that
When he was a child, he read a comic book in a dentist, and there you go.
the guy's avid collector status.
Here, what about this one for my nephew?
A superb choice.
Oh, great.
Yeah, provided he has already read Infinite Crisis and 52 and is familiar with the reestablishment of the DC multiverse.
It would be easy to assume their adoration came from the typical geek culture stereotype. Yet for Sheldon, his origin started far differently. In a very early Season 1 episode of Young Sheldon, he spots his friend Tam reading one and scoffs at them as childish.
You do understand those are for children.
Sheldon, just look at yourself.
Have you ever read one?
I outgrew picture books when I was 3.
Eat your lunch.
Yet, when he gets dragged to a psychiatrist's office, an X-Men comic book
Oh,
piques
it was
his
a
interest.
psychiatrist. I said
Soon
dentist.
enough, he too ends up at a comic book store, looking for the follow-up issue.
I thought you said comic books were for children.
I'm a complicated young man.
Similarly, his foray into video games began skeptically until Meemaw's influence got him hooked.
That's like a. Is that a Super Nintendo?
Right behind you, monster!
losing life points. Do something.
Calm down, I've got this.
No, you're going to die. We're going to have to restart this level.
Number 11. Why does Mary talk so badly about
Because he died.
George? When Mary visits Sheldon during the Parent series, the few tidbits she drops about her late husband are never particularly complimentary.
His father, God rest his soul, used to always say to me, Mary, you have to take your time with Sheldon.
Sounds like a wise man.
Oh, not so wise. He once tried to fight a bobcat for some licorice.
Sure, they had their share of ups and downs, but we never doubted their love for each other. So why does Mary seem to have such a sour view of him?
Okay, so there was this moment in The Big Bang where I think Sheldon said that his father died, and a bunch of Big Bang fans know that in young Sheldon they would carry on to his father dying, and in the first 6 seasons no one saw a clip of that, but once season 7 was confirmed, everyone knew that that clip would come.
Well, after Mary and Sheldon return from Germany, their
God.
relationship is arguably at its
This was the moment where he added extra knocks.
strongest. When George passes away, Mary's completely and understandably crushed. It seems like it's easier for her to channel her grief into anger.
I'm so mad at him. I'm mad at God. I'm mad at myself for not trying harder while he was here. This wasn't supposed to happen.
So everyone has regrets to their father, to George dying. Mary for not being nice, Missy for not letting him drive her to school, and Sheldon for not even saying goodbye. Wow, Sheldon.
So next time we watch The Big Bang Theory and hear Mary criticize George, it will hit differently, knowing she's really just hurting deep down.
When I was pregnant with Shelley, I was driving to church, and I was praying to the Lord to give me a son smarter than his dumbass daddy.
Number 10. Why does Sheldon hate geology? Sheldon makes no secret of his disdain for practically every field but his own.
Physics answers the question, what is the nature of the universe? Now, geology answers the...
After this one, I'm gonna have to stop here, and then I'll come back to this in Wednesday's video.
The question, what did I just trip over?
Sure, it could just be his snobbiness, but young Sheldon tends to unearth the exact moments these opinions are formed. Take season 1, for instance. Sheldon meets Libby, who opens his eyes to the world of geology. Whether it's a crush or he's just happy to meet someone intellectually stimulating, Sheldon decides to dig geology.
People didn't understand continental drift because they didn't understand seafloor spreading. What?
I'm both threatened and delighted by your brain.
However, when he overhears that Libby sees him as a little kid, he's heartbroken and essentially ends their friendship. We're not comparing Sheldon to a supervillain, but this seems to be an origin story as good as any.
I've been giving geology some more thought.
Yeah, and?
I've decided it's not
It's an anime villain origin story.
really a science.
It's not?
No, it's more like a...
Has anyone noticed that in the MsMojo logo, the two O's are the eyes, the J is a nose, and then they added a little extra line right there to make a mouth. Has anyone noticed that?
hobby. Rock collecting. Childish, really.
Number 9. When did Georgie become interested in tires?
Could just be the thermostat not opening right.
That is correct.
How'd you know that?
I took auto repair last year.
And you actually paid attention?
I'm as surprised as you are.
When Sheldon and Amy finally decide to get married, audiences got to meet Sheldon's older brother, Georgie. He'd been mentioned occasionally.
Oh my goodness, this was the episode where the rest of the gang got pink eye, except for Penny.
Throughout the show, but we had never seen his face. We come to learn that Georgie owns a very successful tire business and that he and Sheldon rarely speak.
What the hell are you doing here?
Hello, Georgie.
It's just George now.
Fine. George. No, I don't like it. Georgie?
The origins of Georgie's affinity for tires can be traced back to the ending of a season 2 episode of the prequel series. Inspired by the pottery scene from Ghost, we see Georgie communing with a tire to try and find where the leak
What scene from Ghost?
is.
Talk to me. Tell me where it hurts. Gotcha.
Jump forward several scenes, and wouldn't you know it, Georgie's new father-in-law just happens to own a tire store.
Really? Selling tires? You are not gonna regret this.
I work my butt off for you. Nights, weekends, holidays, you name it, I'm there.
Pretty impressive kid, huh?
Number 8. Why did Mary...
Okay, so if you guys want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. I post every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and sometimes Sunday if I'm lucky. Anyways, I'm the Lions Room, signing out.